What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 38, AYS Fight Club. Sorry, got a little late start here. Taking care of some other business in the MMA world. Uh, Working on something with one of the organizations that I love to work with. So had to take care of that first. Sorry, just a few minutes behind, but it's all good. Um, Go ahead, take care of our normal. Follow us on Twitter, AYS Fight Club on Twitter, AYS underscore Fight Club. Come join us over there. Let's talk MMA more than just Thursdays. And also, subscribe to us on the Are You Serious page on YouTube. It's AYS Sports. Catch this show. Catch Blake's show. I think he'll be back from vacation next week. So, definitely, tune back in, catch Blake's all of his going on in the sports world. He takes care. I take care of MMA. He takes care of everything else. So he's got the big platter in front of him. I just come on and talk about this stuff. So I get to have fun, and he does all the hard work here around here. So, man, we'll jump right into it. UFC 264 review. McGregor Poirier 3. Ouch. I've had that injury before. It was a break at the fibula. Mine was a compound, so I had it in different places. I had it right there in that same spot at the bottom and broke my ankle. It was a little bit more severe than his, but man, that hurts. I've been there. Ouch. I think I saw his medical suspension until January. I wouldn't really see him fighting before then anyway, so I don't think it matters. Um, uh, what's up, Devin? Appreciate it on the Pacers deal. I'm sure a lot of people don't even know the Pacers down here, but yeah, I was born in Illinois. Indiana is home to me. It's where my parents are from, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, all live in Indiana, except me and a couple siblings are down here, and my dad. But yeah, the Colts, Pacers, that's all home. But I'm Bears, Cubs. But yeah, all that in the Midwest, that's my teams. But yeah, the Poirier and McGregor fight, 1 round. I think it was 450 of the first round. A lot of people want to see the fourth. And at this point, it's just a show. Poirier has showed that he can dominate McGregor, and I mean, if they fight 100 more times, I think Poirier would win 100 more times. I think Khabib had said that. You could put him in there, however, whatever number he said. He may have said 100 also, but whatever number you want. And McGregor is just, he's past that point in his career, I think, and Poirier's at the peak of his career right now. Maybe it's at 145, and a couple of years back, it'd be different. We may have ended up like we did the first time around with McGregor getting the knockout, but that up in weight and that time to develop. We've seen obviously that Dustin has developed much more leaps and bounds. It was so where's Poirier go from here? I would think, as many people are thinking, is Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title. I saw Nate Diaz had called him out to go to 185. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it's going to be Oliveira. That's going to be, if he gets caught on the ground with Oliveira in that guillotine, he's not coming out. Yeah, Mr. John. I mean, that's pretty much shown for sure. With the way that second fight went, and then the beginning of that third fight. I don't, like I said, Conor. They could fight 100 more times. I think Dustin's going to win 100 times. 2 of the 3 judges actually gave Poirier a 10-8 round. One judge gave him a 10-9. And listen to Tim Crater. He gave a pretty good explanation on why he thought it was the 10-8. Several times the referee was in there, almost ready to stop the bout in Dustin's favor when he was dropping elbows, and he had him on the ground. And that's really, that's how a lot of the wording is. A lot of the judges and stuff are still kind of, iffy on 10-8s. A lot of the commissions want them to use more 10-8s. A lot of people think it's a bell-to-bell domination. I mean, it's still, I mean, it don't matter how, even judging in boxing that's been around for 100 plus years, I mean, they still don't come to an agreement on it. That's why it's judging. It's very subjective. Judging always has been. And now you want to do something with about 10-8. It's going to take forever before people catch on to that. Some judges are a little bit more liberal with their 10-8s. And you can go see on UFC's webpage, even the next day after the fight, you can go see what the judges put, and you can put two and two together, and you can see which are your more liberal judges and which are your more conservative judges. But when you have that many chances where it's almost the referee's going to stop it, I definitely see it. I could see how it is a 10-8. I could see where those judges are coming from, where the referee's in there several times, almost ready to stop the fight, but it doesn't happen at all the other way. You know, um, we'll see what's next for both of them. Connor, we'll see. I don't think they're gonna do the fourth fight unless it's something that Dustin really really pushes for. Um, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I think he's gonna get the Oliveira fight. Strike while the iron's hot. Obviously, he's at the top. You know, it'd be great to see that fight. And then Michael Chandler. You got all these other guys, and lightweight Justin Gaethje still hanging around there. See what happens with get some of these guys rolling here. Let's see what's going to happen next. It'd be a great fight to see by the end of the year. With Oliveira and Poirier. Maybe get Gaethje and one of these other guys in the co-main event, and let's get a bunch of things figured out. But also on the fight, let's see, I got the fight card here. Let's pull that up. And also want to Dracus Du Plessis. We talked about this last week. We talked about it. He come through big. Got the finish. Second round knockout. I had to see what round it was. I couldn't remember if it was the second or the third. But yeah, I mean, man, I told y'all last week. This guy's a dangerous guy. From the EFC days and especially his KSW days. To knock out Roberto Soldic. That tells you a lot. If you follow European MMA, especially Polish MMA, and that tells you a lot. And I've been high on Du Plessis, ever since. I think Soldic, if he ever decides to leave KSW, will be the same. He'll make a quick ascent up the rankings. Soldic did get that one back from Du Plessis. But we'll take a look at a few of these other fights here, and we'll keep rolling. We'll talk about next week's card, Saturday's card. Ila Topuria beat Ryan Hall, first round knockout with TKO. Ryan Hall said he broke his hand on the first punch that he threw. So I guess that does kind of explain a lot. That's kind of his style anyway, with the rolls and going for the leg locks and ankle locks. That's just kind of his thing. He's never been a crowd favorite from his fighting style. And Michael fly almost got me. Michael Piera and Nico Price. Michelle getting that first round. The decision, and then going here into the main card. That was a couple of the prelims, the top couple on the prelims. Now we go to the 5-fight main card. Sean O'Malley and Chris Mutino. Talk about a guy that can take a punch. He took I think it was 230. I'd have to go back. I don't want to do all that right now. You go to Roto Ballers. If you're into fantasy sports, I do a lot of their MMA coverage. Go to Player News at the top, and go down to MMA Player News, and I do all those. I do all of the player and the fighter breakdowns. It's very statistically based, obviously for fantasy reasons. And I'll put all the significant strikes, and I break all the numbers down. It's a lot more, for people more into the analytics of it. I want to say it was 200. It could have been 230, 230 significant strikes landed. That is a lot. That is a ton of significant strikes. You have a lot of 5-round main events that get 130 if there's a lot of striking. This is 100 more than that in less time. But just the way Sean O'Malley is. Um, a TKO with 30 seconds left. I mean, what more was going to happen in that 30 seconds that didn't happen in the 14 minutes and 30 seconds before that? I don't know. I don't know if Herb Dean saw something that we didn't see, maybe in his eyes. I don't know. But I let him go. As he said, he wanted to go out on his sword. I mean, he wasn't, being pummeled on the ground. He was still on his feet. Let the man keep going. He said, I don't know if he saw something that made him stop it, but hey, he got, fight of the night. He got, life changing money. They say for some of these fighters, they saw a quote somewhere and said, for some of these bigger guys, that's nothing. But for some of these smaller guys like this, that's life changing money. That's 2 years salary for some of these guys, shit, that's over 2 years salary for me. I know that. That can change a lot for you. A lot of these guys have full-time jobs and then try to train and then, fight even, at the UFC level. They're not all in the gym all the time. They don't all own gyms. They don't all, fight all the time. They have full-time jobs and then they go, train when they can. You'd be amazed at the dedication that MMA fighters have, and other sports do too. There's no doubt about it, but that an MMA fighter has at the top level. If you take top level sports, NBA players, they don't have a side job too. The NFL, they don't have a side job. That's all they do. The UFC, who many consider the top organization in MMA, these guys, a lot of them have other jobs that they have to do to, to still support themselves and support their family. But moving on up, we'll move up to Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. First round TKO for Irene Aldana. Just a beast. I mean, her boxing and her striking is always so clean, and she's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. Absolutely. I don't know where her ranking is right now. I'll see if I can look it up real quick. But if she's not, there for a title shot, she's got to be close. And then the next one we had is the Taya Tuivasa and Greg Hardy matchup, which ended 67 seconds. All it took for Tuivasa, who's really turned it around. I think he had lost 3 in a row, and now he's won 3 in a row, something like that. Pulling it up right now here, I'll let you know. But yeah, I mean, man, this guy's really turned it around. Lost 3 in a row, now he's won 3 in a row. All 3 of them first round knockouts. So, man, talk about a guy that's really turned it around. And you got to. There's always guys and girls waiting for their shot to get into the UFC. I mean, you go to a lot of these regional shows and you watch these main cards, and you're like, man, all these kids here have so much talent that they could, they could be in the UFC. And then you look at the people in the UFC, and it's like, man, if any of these people go on a losing streak, it's next man up. I mean, it can be for a lot of these divisions. And typically you lose 3 or 4 in a row, you're going to get your pink slip. You're done. Tuivasa just had that personality and give him another shot. It's won 3 in a row, all first round knockouts. Greg Hardy, man, I talk about Greg Hardy a lot as, to me, he's a lot like Aaron Pico. He's my UFC version of Aaron Pico as far as really getting his bumps and bruises on the big stage, coming from the NFL, with his issues for his departure in the NFL. We're not going to get into all that. Everybody knows all his issues. He had 3 amateur fights, and then he went to the Contender Series. 0-0 as a pro going into the Contender Series. 2 fights in the Contender Series, 1 on the regional scene, and then he's been in the UFC since. So really 1 fight as a pro, not in the octagon. That's a lot of bumps and bruises to take. And his second amateur fight was for AKA, which I do a lot of work with. I love, John and Amber Bishop over there. Always put on amazing shows. At their second Rite of Passage 2, Greg Hardy fought and won with a first round finish there. So all 3 of his amateur fights were first round finishes. pretty much that's how he's been in the UFC. It's been first round finishes. All of his wins except his Jorgen De Castro fight, which was a couple fights ago, was a decision. Beat Maurice Green in a second round TKO. But before that, it was all first round wins. Um, he had the issue with the illegal knee and the no contest with the inhaler, just little things like that. But like I said, same thing I always said about Aaron Pico. When you're on the big stage, all your errors are brought to light. A lot of these things happen at regional shows. I've been to a ton of them. I couldn't even count how many regional shows I've been to, and you see all these things happen, but they're not on the big stage. Even if they're on Fight Pass or Fight TV or Facebook or whatever, it's not as big as being on the UFC, because then you have the media coverage as well. So ESPN picks up on it and all these other things, and it gets spread all over the place, and 50 million people see what happened to you. Whereas not like that on the regional scene. It's a little bit different show there. All these things, a lot of the people, the record he has, I think it's 7-3, 7-4. A lot of people have twice that record before they even get into the UFC. And most of that is there, with the exception of one. So it's one of those things that you take your bumps and bruises, but sometimes you take them. And he's used to that being in the NFL. I don't think most fighters could probably handle it, but a special kind of athlete can. Greg Hardy, whatever you think about him personally, athletically, he's an amazing athlete. That's where I'm just talking about in cage stuff here. That's where I draw the line as far as analyzing the fighter. But we'll see if he can turn it around. I'm sure he can. Mentally, we'll just see how he rebounds from losing a couple in a row. He lost to Marcin Tybura before that, so now his first losing streak. So we'll see how if he turns around, what kind of matchup they give him. Let's see if they give him a matchup that he can try and turn it around. Next, the co-main event. Which I'm gonna pull up the rankings here so we can see what welterweight is. I know I forgot on Irene Aldana. I'll get back to it. I sidetracked myself. Gilbert Burns and Stephen Thompson, which this was a huge opportunity for Stephen Thompson that really just slipped by. And Mr. John saying he's a really nice guy. I'm sure he's talking about Greg Hardy. And it's definitely a dude I would like to meet. And maybe he'll turn it around, and like I said, he's on that little losing streak, so hopefully he can turn it around and get himself back on track. But welterweights, let's see, I'm gonna pull that up. I think it was 2-5, 2-4. Yeah, 2-4. So Burns was 2 and Thompson was 4. Pretty much, Thompson is one of the few remaining people in the top 10 that has not fought Kamaru Usman yet. Kamaru is just going through the division. There's still some names there, so he's still got some work to do. But a lot of these guys, they've had their shot. And Stephen Thompson is one of the few who has not. And somebody like Stephen Thompson, who's been around for a while, he's got a unique style. He even said before in an interview, one of the embeddeds, I think, I know Gilbert Burns is better on the grounds, but every fight starts on the feet, so what's up, Jacob? Neither are beating Usman right now. Yeah, I don't think anybody's beating Usman right now. Like we're saying with Poirier, Poirier is just, I think at the top. I think Usman is the same thing. He's at that peak of his career right now. I don't see anybody looking at it. They have Colby at 1. He's had his shot. Gilbert Burns, Leon Edwards, Stephen Thompson, Michael Chiesa, Vicente Luque, Jorge Masvidal, Neil Magny, Belal Muhammad, Jeff Neal. That's the top 10. I don't see anybody that can, maybe, I said this a while back, but, let's see, Usman take out another 1 or 2 of these guys, and let's see, Poirier, if he can get the title, and that'd be a hell of a just a mix there, with Poirier and Usman in the mix, and see. Um, yeah, only Covington comes close, but I don't know how he do. Yeah, I mean, he's got that that wrestling pedigree, to go toe to toe with Usman, and Usman's even his striking has developed so much too, and that's a dangerous thing when a lot of people will say, and I even wrote this in one of my articles lately, maybe one I did on DJ Doyle. I think that's going to be coming out soon. Um, when you have a lot of people, will say, "What's the best background? What's the best pedigree to have coming into MMA?" And they'll say wrestling. And both these guys have a great wrestling background. But the thing that Usman is developing is his striking. At where he's at, um, with Henry Hooft, and he's really developing his striking, and that's what's making him a real dangerous force. Is he can get to the ground. He was a lot of people don't like his style. They think it's boring, but you're not in there. You're in there to win. First, and you want to entertain, because that's unfortunately where the sport is becoming to, especially at the higher levels. Your UFCs, your Bellators. A lot of it is about style points do come in to a certain extent. But you want to win. First you want to win. That's how you get the belt, is you win. And he ain't got to be flashy now. He's got the belt. All he's got to do is win. The money is where the style points come in. So it depends on where his what lies within what he wants to do. But Covington, if he can get his mind right, he likes to do a lot of the mental games, so we'll just see. But I mean, Covington may get another shot. We'll see. But Thompson, had his opportunity if he could beat Burns, couldn't get it done. He lost the decision. Um, so we'll see. Maybe Burns ends up getting a. So we'll see. There's a lot of questions here at welterweight. I know Chiesa's got a fight coming up. He's at 5. He's got a fight coming up. So we'll see. There's still a lot of people for Usman to fight at welterweight. But and then of course, we talked about the main event, Dustin Poirier getting that first round victory. So we'll see. That there's a lot of questions that come out of this. So which is good, because that leads us with places to go. Last thing you want is a division to die off. And unfortunately that happens sometimes. You get in a stalemate, but yeah, Usman is absolutely a beast. He may be one of the most dominant champions right now if you look at the champions across the board. Because we got Brandon Moreno at flyweight, Aljamain Sterling bantamweight, Alexander Volkanovski at featherweight, Oliveira lightweight, Usman at welterweight, Adesanya at middleweight, Blakovic at light heavyweight, Ngannou at heavyweight, Rose Namajunas at strawweight, Valentina Shevchenko at flyweight, and Amanda Nunes bantamweight, featherweight. Aside from Shevchenko and Nunes, if you're looking at the male divisions, Usman might be the most dominant champion in his division. Adesanya too. If you at middleweight, I think it was a bit of a reach too far to go against somebody like Jan Blachowicz for light heavyweight, who's a bigger guy and just a stronger guy anyway. Jan's just a lot stronger than most of the light heavyweights anyway. And then to go that far, but we're getting myself off topic here. But let's go ahead and we will talk about this weekend's event, UFC Vegas 31, which is on Saturday at the Apex. So it's going to be another one of their training centers. So we got 5 fights on the main card. We'll just run through the main card here real quick. Main events really, as far as standing wise, is huge. But the co-main event, we'll jump to that. We'll jump around a little bit. As far as wow factors, or Miesha Tate is back. Miesha Tate's in the co-main event against Marion Reneau. I think it's been 2016 is the last time that Tate was in there. After she won the title from Holly Holm. I think she lost 2 in a row and then retired. Um, yeah, Holly Holm. She beat Holly Holm in 2016. Fought Amanda Nunes, lost the title there. That was at UFC 200, and then lost to Raquel Pennington, and then retired from MMA. She did some grappling and stuff, but as far as MMA goes, and now she's back. So almost 5 years. I know she's done a lot with One Fighting Championship, doing commentating and doing ambassador type stuff over there. So still staying involved in the sport. But Marion Renault might be the best opponent for her. Renault is on a bit of a streak of 4, I think. Yeah, four fights losing streak. Coming in, Macy Chasson was her last matchup. That was in March, and she lost the decision. All her last 4 fights, she's lost all 4, but they're all decisions. So she stays in it the whole time. She doesn't get herself caught. Even before that, she's never lost a fight as a pro by knockout or submission. Macy Chasson, Raquel Pennington, Yana Kunitskaya, Kat Zagano. This is the Kat Zagano from 2018. So, that's her last 4. She's fought once a year, 2018, 2019, 2020, and then 2021 for Chasson. So we'll see. This may be, 5 years is too long. Most can't handle 2 years away. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think if she can do it, I think this is and I'm not saying that Tate can, but I guess more so what I'm saying is if she's going to, this is probably the best matchup for it to happen with, if that makes sense. Ronaldo, who's not very active herself. Since 2018, she had 2 fights. But before that, 2017, she had 2 fights. 2016, she had 2 fights, and then since then it's been 1 fight. So she's not very active herself. So I think, definitely 5 years, is definitely too long. Like you said, 2 years is too long. Yeah, a lot of them, any time away is too long. What's up, Jed? Last fight in March. Yeah, that seems like a short reset. Rest. I see it as a good matchup for a comeback. Yeah, it was March. I'll get you the exact March 20th. It was a UFC fight night. So yeah, and this is the first time that was the Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland card. Because I had to figure out which one it was. It made me curious. But yeah, that's hopefully, it can help her get back on track. If so we'll have to see. It's interesting as far as there are a lot of questions to it. Tate has been away for a while. How much has she really? I know she's been doing a lot of grappling tournaments. Obviously, I know it's not the same as MMA, but she's still staying in competition. And you ask a lot of these fighters, when you get into the competition, into the cage, and the door closes, it's a different mindset. So we'll see how much of that can carry over. But yeah, no, it's definitely not the same. Being away that long, getting to the cage, going back into the UFC. 5 years. I think November will make 5 years. So but it's right there. I know she at least had another kid. I don't know if she's had 2 since then. I know she's had at least 1, maybe 2 kids since. What kind of change that can cause to the body. So there's a lot of factors to it. But just in general, it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Either way, either it's a great comeback story for Tate, or Renault can get a win and snap the losing streak. So either one of them is going to end up, coming out, a little bit better in this matchup. So it's built to help somebody. Also on the main card, which I'm super excited about this one, Mateusz Gamrot and Jeremy Stephens. I've been huge on Gamrot for years. First time I actually saw him fight was at KSW 39 when he fought Norman Park when they had the first of their 3 bouts. And I've kind of gone backwards and watched him since. But, this will be his second, training camp at American Top Team. just a beast. He was the KSW featherweight and lightweight champion. Um, and when I posted earlier today on Facebook, this is actually the guest that we're going to have hopefully next week, if not the week after. Working on next week. We'll see how things go Saturday. But Gamrod is supposed to be our guest for next week. So, that'll be awesome for the show. But get in there with Jeremy Stevens, and I know, it's not the same Jeremy Stevens of the past, but it's still a big name, and as they say, power is the last thing to go. And Jeremy Stevens, for being, a lightweight, has a lot of it to go, so American Top Team, don't bet against those boys. Absolutely not. I love American Top Team. I know I've talked to a lot of the guys from over there. They're just, it's just killers, up and down, just killers. Last time I talked to Gamrod before, in his last fight, his main training partners were Poirier, Masvidal, and I forget whoever else it was. But yeah, look at that, and now he's finally, and his last fight was his first fight with Mike Brown as his head coach. So now he's got a little bit more tenure that with under Mike Brown. I saw him the other day. He was working with Poirier. I talked to him again today. He's feeling good. He's been training hard. Kind of sticking to the same regimen that he got his knockout in his last fight. He still talks about his debut where he got robbed on the decision. I think he got robbed on the decision. I may be a little a little partial that way, but it was he had the split decision loss. A lot of people kind of felt he got robbed on it. I definitely do. But he's still upset about that. He just randomly. We're just talking. He'll throw that in. He's like, and I didn't lose my debut. I was like, man, I never said you did. I know how you feel about that. That hurts. So I know he hurts about that. So I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm sure he'll bring it up. That's one of the things that really bothers him is that debut. But yeah, fighting somebody like Jeremy Stevens is huge for him. Gamrod's 18-1. That's a big name. And especially in this lightweight division, that's just always been packed with killers in it. It's just always been that division. And that's anywhere. That's any organization. Even on the regional scenes, the lightweights are always, there's the perfect mixture of speed and power. So we'll definitely see how that one goes down. And then Rodolfo Vieira is 7-1. He is definitely a dangerous guy. Just a multi-time, world champion, black belt jiu-jitsu artist. Every single one of his wins has come by a submission. He actually lost his last bout to Anthony Hernandez by submission. You get caught, it happens. But more times than not, he's going to be on the winning end of that. And that, so, he's definitely going to be interesting. Keep your eye on that one. And then Billy Quarantillo and Gabriel Benitez are going to open up the main card. And that's it, featherweight. So that's going to be an awesome fight right there, too. So, yeah, just definitely, a lot of good fights here. Bellator will also has an event tomorrow. The prelims are normally on their YouTube page, and then on Showtime is where the main card is. There's a title fight. Juliana Velasquez and Denise Kilholtz fighting for the 125 strap. Co-main event is Tyrell Fortune and Matt Mitrione. So, this is definitely huge for Tyrell. Get a big name like Matt Mitrione. Tyrell, let me see, he's got one loss. Tim Johnson is his one loss. But since then, he had a no contest with Jack May, and then he ended up winning his last two fights. So, huge for him, huge for Matt Mitrione if he can win to help turn things around. Then we got Matthias Matos and CJ Hamilton at 135. I talked to CJ Hamilton earlier today, too. Just an awesome guy. I've talked to him before. We've written an article before. Um, his last matchup was Magomedov, and any of those guys are tough. That was at Bellator 255 in April. So hopefully he can rebound here. Just CJ is just before that he had 2 wins, and we'll see. He kind of flip flopped a little bit there for a while. Was on a good winning streak. So hopefully he can turn it around with this one. Matthias Matos is 12-2. So we'll see if he can turn it around. Also on the card is Johnny Eblin, another one of those American top team guys. Just just a special dude, special guy. I've talked to him before he got into Bellator. I've talked to him a couple times since, but mainly before. I love talking to these guys before they get into, to Bellator, UFC, and, just watching them develop and make it, is awesome. I still talk to him. It's not like let it go. But, yeah, I mean, just an awesome guy. He's got some big wins. He's undefeated. 4 Bellator fights, and he's won them all. His last one was a first round knockout. He had some decisions before that. He's actually got a win over Chauncey Foxworth, was his first Bellator win, which is a tough dude. I've been a huge fan of Chauncey for a while. That was a big win to make your organizational debut, especially on Bellator. But Johnny Eblin, that's another one of those names that you definitely got to watch out for. Very dangerous guy. Couple things, and we'll get out of here. On the boxing end, just update y'all on a couple big things here. Be concise, and that way we can roll. Fury and Wilder has been reset. I know I talked about it last week. I think it was the day of the show they announced that Fury had tested positive for COVID. So they had to get it reset, and it looks like they have it set for October 9th. So it looks like the rematch is going to be October 9th for the Fury and Wilder main event. And it looks like, from something I read today, is that they're actually going to transfer the whole card. So all those fights aren't going to fall apart, which happens when you reschedule main event. You can't always reschedule all these guys, so it looks like they're just moving the whole card over. And as far as right now, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao's a go. They had their little press conference on Sunday. Everything seems like it's a go. I know I don't know the status of the court injunction, with all the the organizations as far as what's going on. As of right now, it's a go. So we'll see. Do our 3% Polish segment. On that, we will definitely talk about just real quickly here. KSW 62 is set for Saturday. And it normally comes on, if you're in Central, about 12 noon, 1 o'clock p.m. Central Time. 9 fights, always 9 fights. They get in there, get to the point, and it's done. You're ready for your UFC fight, so it works out perfect. You can watch it on KSWTV.com or go download the KSW app. Watch it on the app. It's like $10. But knowing me, y'all know I love my Polish MMA. Main event, got the Olympic gold medalist, Szymon Kalecki, 9-1. Most, that's 8, maybe all 9 of them. Let's see, are knockouts. Just a powerful guy. Yeah, all of them except his last one. It's Martin Zawada. Martin Zawada was has like almost 50 pro fights. So that's not really a guy you're going to knock out. But to go in there with 9 pro fights against Martin Zawada, who's almost 50, been around since like KSW 1, that was a huge win to really help solidify him. I mean, he's beaten Puds, he's beaten Damian Janikowski, TKOs on both of those. So, I mean, he's if he beats Akop Sostak, I could see, Szymon getting close to maybe, Phil DeFreeze for that title shot. We'll see. I don't know what they have in store for Phil right now. Maybe he needs to get seasoned up a little more, but he's beating a lot of the big names right now. So, we'll see. A-Cop is a bodybuilder, fitness, all that kind of stuff. So, he's a pretty stacked dude himself. So, we'll see. I think this is going to be another Sizemon, TKO victory. First round, I don't see it going past maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Artur Sawinski is on the co-main event. I love watching Artur fight. He's a former champion. He's fighting at 155 against Sebastian Rajowski. A big matchup here. Andres Grabak and then Marius Zarakaus. They fought before. Andres lost the fight because he broke his foot or his leg. I don't remember if it was the foot or the leg or something, but they're going to go ahead and they're going to run it back. So, that'll be interesting. And definitely a guy that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on is Tomas Sarara, who's actually making his pro debut. Big in the Polish kickboxing scene, multi-time, world kickboxing champion. So we'll see how it translates over. Some of those guys kill it and do well, like Ejiro Adesanya, and some don't. But Tomas Sarara definitely has the kickboxing pedigree to go in there and put it on. So we'll go ahead and close it out with our last segment, this week in MMA. Just a couple of things that happens this week back in the day. On which it wouldn't have been on Sunday. It would have made 6 years Sunday, July 11th, 2015 was UFC 189, which is the day Conor McGregor won his first interim title, the featherweight title, beating Chad Mendes. But I think the bigger event was the Robbie Lawler Rory McDonald fight. Definitely the best fight I've ever seen. Just an absolute war, and Lawler's going to be fighting. We'll talk about it more next week. Lawler and Diaz are going to be fighting. I think it's like I saw something. It'll be their second fight. It's going to be like 5,038 days or something between their fights. They fought in like 2004, UFC 46 or something like that. They're going to be the co-main event at UFC 266, and so we'll talk more about that. Obviously, we'll break down the numbers on that. And then on Monday, which would have been July 12th in 1996, Mark Coleman won UFC 10 in a tournament, which I think he got 3 victories. And it was also that same event was the first time we saw Bruce Buffer as the UFC announcer. So UFC 10, Buffer's been going since then. Crazy. And Matt Hughes on March 13th, which would have been Tuesday. So in 2002, 19 years ago on Tuesday, Matt Hughes earned his second UFC title, defeating Carlos Newton. So, a couple events on This Week in History in MMA. So we'll go ahead and we'll call wraps there. About a 45-minute episode. So, we'll see how the Vegas event goes, see how Bellator goes. We'll talk a little bit more about some local MMA that's going to be going on at the end of the month. Bayou UFC it'll be in New Orleans with Gretna. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, and that'll be episode 39. Hopefully we'll have Mateus Gamrot. If not, we'll have him the next week for episode 40. But that's it. We'll go ahead and call it a wrap. So remember the first rule of Fight Club. Tell all your friends about Fight Club, and we'll catch y'all later.